Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Whoops, wrong show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the 3-Count Super Show. I'm War Machine MJ, and if you are new to the channel, 3-Count is our weekly update of Raw and Smackdown, as well as the network stuff in a separate episode. But the Super Show is when either life happens, or I get really fucking lazy and don't do 3-Count for a week. Yeah, and usually there's two more idiots that join me. But considering that it is 9 a.m. on Friday the 17th. Yeah, okay, it is Friday. Anyway, 9 a.m. Friday the 17th. So let's go ahead and get the ball rolling. If you notice, we are in Money in the Bank season. So I've decided to bust out my Money in the Bank briefcase, which there's literally money in this bank. Yeah, I'm not kidding. There's actually money in here. It's my vacation fund. Anyway, I am here today to talk about Raw the 17th, Raw the 14th, and Smackdown the 8th and the 15th. So, yeah, a lot to dive in. If you're new to watching a super show, I run through the events of last week real quick, touch on one or two things that are of utmost importance, and I go into depth with this week's shenanigans. So let's go ahead and start with Raw. Monday Night Raw, which, yeah, May 6th was the introduction of the wild card rule. Now, for those of you who probably had an aneurysm out of how angry you are out of this, basically, or for those of you who haven't, I should say, because I'm about to explain. Wildcard rule is basically 4 talents from SmackDown can show up on Raw and vice versa. Yeah, on the first night of this new rule that Vince McMahon literally pulled out of his ass with the shit still covered on it, he accidentally pulled 5 superstars to Raw. Yeah, let all that sink in. Because he literally came up with it on the spot. Because his ratings are in the fucking toilet. Okay, that's only half the reason. The other half the reason is USA Network and Fox wants the same people on their show. Well, on their shows, I should say, between Raw and SmackDown. And that's not they want the same rosters, you know, that's in the brand split. No. They want the same individuals. So, I just, fine, let's move on. Yeah, because in kayfabe, all this started because Roman Reigns promised to show up on Raw the 6th, since they were, no, they were in the UK for this week. Last week, they were stateside. Anyway, we started to show off with SmackDown superstars Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, and WWE Champion Kofi Kingston showing up on Raw. Meanwhile, Vinnie Mac instituted the wild card rule. Yeah. Vince McMahon made a WrestleMania rematch between Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Meanwhile, he decided to make, in the main event of Raw, WWE Championship on the line as Kofi Kingston defends against Daniel Bryan. We come back from commercial, and AJ Styles is still in the ring. He looked, well, visually confused about what the hell a wildcard rule is. Said he was going to turn Monday Night Raw into Monday Night Styles. I'm sorry, Monday Night Rollins to Monday Night Styles. So Seth Rollins comes out there. They start jaw-jacking. Vince McMahon says, "You guys want to be in competition? You're in competition tonight as tag team partners." against Baron Corbin and Booty Lashley. Because that's how he's been booked. Like booty. Anyway, Corbin and Lashley pick up the win after Seth Rollins gets nailed with an accidental phenomenal forearm. I forgot what they call it for a second there. Because they used to call it the Superman. Anyway, next, Sami Zayn cut another wheel-spinning promo before he was chased off by Braun Strowman, who threw him in a dumpster, which he conveniently got compacted. Hang on, I need a visual metaphor for this one. Anyway. Next, we had Ricochet defending his spot in the Money in the Bank match against Robert Roode. Ricochet won. Next, we had Lacey Evans in an exhibition match against some jobber, which she won. And then my future ex-wife, my sexy future ex-wife, Becky Lynch, came out there and laid out, I'm not calling her the sassy Southern Belle, she laid out Evans. So, there we go. Next, we had the Viking Raiders demolish the Raw Tag Team Champions, Hawkins and Ryder. Now, we'll get to Firefly Funhouse later. Because we've got 2 weeks of Firefly Funhouse to catch up. Arguably the best part of Monday Night Raw is Firefly Funhouse. Next, Roman Reigns defeats Drew McIntyre via disqualification because Shayna Mac and Elias stuck their noses in business. Miz chased him off with a chair. Well, Miz chased Shane out of the ring with a chair. Meanwhile, Elias and Drew McIntyre put the finishing touches on Roman Reigns. Next up, the Revival were going to take on the Club until the Usos put Usi Hot on their tights. Why? This is a money feud. Two of the best tag teams in the business. I give both teams props for throwing themselves into this shit, but why? You don't need this garbage to sell this feud. This is money. Anyway, no way Jose got laid out by Lars Sullivan. Whoop-de-damn-do. And in the main event, we had the WWE Champion Kofi Kingston defending against Daniel Bryan in a really good match. Of course, Kofi Kingston won. So we move on to this week's Raw, May the 13th. The go home to Money in the Bank. We kicked off the show with Miz TV as he interviewed his special guest, Roman Reigns. And then he started talking like Hollywood big shot Miz before Roman said, "Yo, I'm not liking this Miz. Go back to the new Miz, one that's got a chip on his shoulder." And so Miz is like, "Okay, I'm going to beat Shane O'Mac's ass." He gave a more impassioned speech. But yeah, speaking of Shane O'Mac, he came out there and said Miz TV is canceled for now, as Elias and Booty Lashley, I should say, jumped Miz and Reigns from behind, leading to a 2-on-2 match, which Roman Reigns and The Miz won via disqualification, because Shane O'Mac stuck his $1 million nose in their business. There was a backstage segment where the Revival said the embarrassment of the Revival, stop. couldn't they make this a serious feud between two of the best tag teams in professional wrestling? On side note, Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks are going to kill it at All In too. So there you go, something serious to digest. Next up, we had a squash match between Apollo Crews and Broken Mojo Rawley. Because he talks to a broken mirror. Which makes no sense at all. And he had face paint that looked like he had cracks around his eyes. What the hell did he do? Yeah, it was a quick match because Mojo Rawley took advantage of Apollo Crews after he tweaked his knee. Sunrise, sunset. Next, we had a dual contract signing as Becky Lynch signed the contract to take on her opponents at Money in the Bank. This was a pretty good segment. Of course, we know Charlotte Flair can talk. Becky Lynch is killer on the mic, and Lacey Evans isn't so bad herself. The segment ended when both challengers powerbombed the champ through a table, as all contract signings should go. Next, we had Baron Corbin taking on Ricochet in arguably one of Baron Corbin's better matches. Again, this guy is underrated. He's just booked horribly. And he puts on great matches when he has a smaller, faster opponent, to where he can match their pace. If he's lumbering, it's a crap match. If he's taking on somebody like Braun, it's going to be crap. Because, he has to lumber with them, and it looks dumb. Anyway, yeah, Baron Corbin picked up the win, set up a ladder, tried to go for the Money in the Bank briefcase. Ricochet got up and pushed Corbin off the ladder. So, yeah. Next up, we had a fatal four-way between the Raw women's competitors in the Money in the Bank match. It was Natalya, Naomi, Dana Brooke, and it was supposed to be Blissy Baby, but her luggage got lost in on the flight over. So a less crazy Nikki Cross took her spot. This was a fun match. The crowd booed Naomi when she pushed Nikki Cross off the top rope, which they were in the UK, so yeah, that makes sense. Either way, Nikki Cross got the win. Alexa Bliss was on commentary for the match. After the match was over, they set up a ladder in the middle of the ring, and Nikki Cross started to climb up the ladder, but Alexa Bliss said, no, honey, I'm in the match. And she went up and grabbed the Money in the Bank briefcase. Next, earlier in the night, there was a backstage segment between Rey Mysterio and Cesaro, which Cesaro was clowning Mysterio. He even made the assumption that maybe Dominic isn't Rey's kid because of the height difference. So it's led to this match between Rey Mysterio and Cesaro. It was a bang-up match. This was a really good match. I would love to see a feud between these guys. Cesaro, absolutely underrated. Rey Mysterio, he's a GOAT of Lucha Libre. There was also a backstage segment where Samoa Joe vowed to teach Dominic how to be a man. So yeah. We'll talk about Firefly Funhouse later. Oof. Which, that leads us to our main event. Earlier in the night, Braun Strowman got his got his spot in the Money in the Bank match, challenged by Sami Zayn, who challenged him to a Falls Count Anywhere match. It looked like this was another easy win for Braun. Roar, slam, Gretzky him, go home. But Sami Zayn has assistance from Baron Corbin and Drew McIntyre, of all people. So, long story short, Braun Strowman out Sami Zayn in the Money in the Bank match. So, yeah, that was Monday Night Raw. Not bad episode. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to May 7th edition of Smackdown. The first Smackdown after the wild card rule. We kicked off the show with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, along with Sami Zayn and AJ Styles, where basically there's a match made at the end of the night. Triple threat for the WWE Championship. Sami Zayn, AJ Styles, and Kofi Kingston. Next, there was a one-on-one match between Mustafa Ali and Andrade Cien Almas, and it ended in a no contest because Randy Orton decided to come in and RKO everybody, because all three men are in the Money in the Bank match. Oh yeah, and Finn Balor's in the Money in the Bank match. Next up, due to the fact that the Hardy Boys had to vacate the titles due to Jeff Hardy injury, Shane McMahon was getting ready to award the Tag Team Championships to the Eco Warriors, Daniel Bryan and Rowe. No, that's not their name. I just made that up on the spot. When the Usos came over and said, "Nah, dog, you got to earn them. Every team we faced, they earned them. We earned them. So now you got to earn." So Daniel Bryan and Rowe did exactly that. They earned. So they are the new Smackdown Tag Team Champions. Next up, Shane O'Mac decided to stick around after the match, and he was going to discuss the Money in the Bank match, which there didn't need to be a discussion. Meanwhile, he got his ass beat by The Miz. Next up, we had a women's tag team match between, three of the four participants in the women's Money in the Bank match. So we had, no, I'm not calling them their team name, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville taking on Carmella and Ember Moon. Of course, Rose and Deville got the win. However, Paige and her new team came out and basically put Rose and Deville on notice. And next up we had the triple threat match for the WWE Championship, which Kofi Kingston won again. This was another bang-up match. This is how you book a champion. This is how you book the champion. You give him great title matches. Amazing title matches. You let him go on the mic. Because Kofi Kingston has proven, he doesn't need the New Day to be a champion. I mean, obviously, the three of them need to stick together for a while because that is gold. That is a money machine. But Kofi does not need them to validate his championship status. He is good enough without the, he's good enough as WWE champion without Woods and Big E. So, yeah. Next up, we move on to May the 14th edition of SmackDown Live. We kicked off the show with Roman Reigns and The Miz kicking off SmackDown Live. Meanwhile, their chat was brought to an end as Shane O'Mac, the Eco Warriors, and Elias beat him down until the Usos partook. Meanwhile, there was a match made later on, a 3-on-4 handicap match. It was Roman Reigns and the Usos taking on the Eco Warriors, Daniel Bryan, Eco Warriors, Shane O'Mac, and Elias. Again, it's 4 a.m. Oh, it's 9 a.m. Shit. The Eco Warriors, Shane O'Mac, and Elias taking on Roman Reigns and the Usos. And if The Miz were to get involved in any capacity in the match, the steel cage match between Miz and Shane is off. So yeah, that was later on the night. Next up, we had a fatal four-way between all four men's Money in the Bank. As we had Cien Andrade Almas taking on Finn Balor, Mustafa Ali, and Randy Orton. Andrade won, because why the fuck not? Post-match, however, Andrade set up a ladder, started climbing it, going towards the briefcase, when he was interrupted by one and only Ricochet. So Ricochet bolted up the ladder, knocked Almas off, grabbed the briefcase, and ran off like a thief in the night. I'm sorry, like the one and only thief in the night. Next up, we had the 3-on-4 handicap match. This was okay. Shane O'Mac, Eco Warriors, and Elias won. After the match, Miz came in to even the odds, so the steel cage match is back on. Next up, something that sparked a lot of controversy. We got the name of Paige's new team between Asuka and Kairi Sane. So, they are now dubbed the Kabuki Warriors. Hold on. Oh, really? Yeah, right now we have live footage of Rodimus Prime's reaction to it. So, take it away, Roddy. That's pretty much everybody on the wrestling internet. Thanks, Roddy. A lot of people are clowning it, calling it racist, calling it cheap. Apparently the backstory on this name is, apparently Asuka and Kairi Sane chose the name. Because, Paige sent out a tweet saying, they came up with the name, that's their name, chill out. And at first, I'm just like, really? That's the best you got? You got two flamboyant stars in there, and that's all you can come up with? Because I, like the rest of the non-Japanese, non-weeb, I'm trying to figure out how to go about this. Anyway, us as the Western audience is only associates Kabuki with theater. Now, that is Kabuki. However, that is the act of a man dressing as a woman because women are forbidden in a play. Yes, that's theater. However, this refers to another type of Kabuki. It is essentially a style back in the Edo period where they basically looked, acted, and dressed, flashy and flamboyant to stand out. Essentially, they're acting extra. And given how colorful Asuka is, how colorful she is and acts, I can't clown on the name now after hearing that broken down, because Asuka broke down what Kabuki meant on Twitter. I can't. I'm on board with that, actually. It's like when they brought in War Machine to NXT and they called them War Raiders. I thought it was silly at first, but then the name kind of grew on me. So this is like that, except for it's going to take a lot longer to grow on me. So there's your free history lesson for the day. Don't ever tell you that wrestling never taught you anything. Oh, and the newly christened Kabuki Warriors defeated Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. What really kills this is presentation. First of all, you have a Japanese tag team being introduced by an English-speaking mouthpiece after they have spent their NXT careers trying their hardest to pick up English as a second language for their promos. And by God, they were jumping leaps and bounds. But it's just... I don't know. They could have used Paige to fill in the blanks, not so much speak for them. And then on top of that, the other thing is they just came outright with the name. No build, no suspense, no drama. Just, oh, hey, this is my team. They're the Kabuki Warriors. That's like me coming up to a completely brand new person and going, hi, War Machine MJ. Why are you a War Machine? Is that your legal name? Is that a nickname, or does your mother actually call you War Machine? There's no presentation. I mean, with me, it's, hi, I'm MJ. On YouTube, I'm known as War Machine MJ. See, that's build up. They're like, okay, he's just a real person. War Machine is a nickname. Why does he have that nickname, though? There's a story behind it. There's not really a story. It's a cool name. But still, there's suspense, there's drama, there's build-up. That's to your presentation. Don't just come outright with it. Oh, that's old news, WWE. Piss off. Anyway, next up, we had... to close the night, we had the Kevin Owens show, where his special guest was WWE Champion Kofi Kingston. Sorry about that. That's the enormous burrito kicking in. Anyway, yeah, Kofi came out there first. KO was surprisingly no-show, so Kofi decided to make it the Kofi Show. So, out comes Kevin Owens. We get a brawl between the two of them. Woods comes out to help. And who does KO have to help? His old friend, Sami Zayn. I'm sorry, his old frenemy. So yeah, those two are going to meet at Money in the Bank, and it's going to be a great match. Oof. That is all of Raw and SmackDown for this week and last week. That's not even... I've still got one more super show left to do. Oy vey. Anyway, yeah. Super show on the network stuff where I have to cover 6 hours of wrestling. And I just cover... Oh wait, I'm not done yet. There's one thing I forgot. Firefly Funhouse. Arguably, that was the one thing I was looking forward to on Raw, and I was bummed out I missed it. But then I got to see it on SmackDown. Anyway, Monday the 6th edition of Firefly Funhouse. They straight up murdered the fucking rabbit. I repeat, they murdered the fucking rabbit. Yeah, it started off with the buzzard eating something because you see fluff everywhere. You know, Bray's just like, what do you eat? Come on, show me. What do you eat? What do you eat? He picks out of the box. And he's just like, holy, wowie zowie, you ate the rabbit. And the buzzard was just like, yeah, I didn't like how he's forcing his bohemian lifestyle on me. It's just kind of, okay. So then Bray Wyatt launches into the spiel about, accept others, ideals and beliefs. Then he kneels down in a bunch of in front of a blank-faced audience of children, and gently says, follow the light if you let me in, or something to that nature. So yeah. Last week they murdered the fucking rabbit. This week, however, I was looking, okay. At first with Firefly Funhouse, I'm just like, what the fuck is this? But then my second time watching it, I'm just like, I'm intrigued by this. Where are they going with this? And then it comes, second episode where he spells out sociopath. I'm just like, okay, they're starting to press the gas pedal on this thing. And then last week, they slammed on the gas by murdering the rabbit. This week, they ripped the fucking the gas pedal off. Because, episode starts up, and Bray Wyatt saying, I'm over here. Over here. Hey, guys. I got a secret. Man, I got a secret, man. Oh, it's a deuce, man. I got a secret. I'm going to tell you. I just need some encouragement, man. Encouragement, man. Sorry, my Bray Wyatt impression is high Bray Wyatt. He's got the giggles and everything. Anyway, he's just like, oh, I got a secret. I'm going to tell all you. But I need some motivation. They keep doing these studio audience cheers. And then they do some freaky shit with the lightings and shit. And then if I could pull an image of, if I could put an image of the new Bray Wyatt on screen right now, oh, it is a sight to digest. Like I missed it Monday, and then Tuesday morning I saw What Culture and Cultaholic put up stills of it, and I'm just like, whoa, what the fuck is this? It looks like a demonic clown ringleader, and he busts. Well, I watched it Tuesday, but he busts out this transformation, and he says this yowie zowie or yowie wowie catchphrase, but it's like really demonic and shit. It's really fucking killer. Now I'm intrigued. I am firmly on board with this. All three of us are interested to see where this goes. Sadly, myself and Mainstream are the only ones that are on board with this. Rodimus, it's still going to take some convincing on his part, but still, this is really fucking good. Where was this Bray Wyatt? Huh? Ay, Dios mío. Anyway, that is it for 3 Count Super on last week and this week's episode of Raw and Smackdown. Make sure to stay tuned to this channel for our super show of last week and this week's network stuff. Yeah, network stuff. That's the best we can come up with for NXT, NXT UK, and 205 Live. Anyway, yeah. You saw his face earlier, but if you hate Rod's ugly ass face, but you love his opinions, he has a podcast now. Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime on the Castbox. You should check it out, because I'm not going to. Also coming down the pipeline, we have paper preview of Money in the Bank. Yeah, we are still episodes behind on paper review, because we got to do a review of Fastlane, Wrestle Kingdom, Takeover New York, Supercard, G1 Supercard, my bad, and WrestleMania. That's 5 reviews, and I just watched Fastlane about a week ago. A week ago. Yes, I know that dance doesn't fit that song. I don't care. It's 9:40 in the morning, and I'm trying to keep you guys entertained. I'm starting to fade. So yeah, that's all for 3 count. I'm War Machine MJ, and I will see you guys next time.